Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fritz Kuhnlenz, and I am the Senior Director for Alumni Affairs for Berklee College of Music and the Boston Conservatory at Berklee. I am delighted to welcome all of you here this afternoon for this very different but very exciting performance featuring college and conservatory alumni composers from around the world. Today's feature recital is entitled Alone Together. And I think we all can sort of think about that and speak to that of everything that we've endured over the past 5.5 months, and for many of us more than that. So with that, I would like to take a minute to introduce our MCs for the evening, for the afternoon, actually, evening, morning, depending on where you're calling in from today. We have Bo Konigsmark and Alejandro Viramontes. Bo and Alejandro approached our office several weeks ago regarding this very different kind of virtual concert. And we were delighted to engage with them and help them build what we hope will be a very exciting afternoon of amazing music and composition. So with that, I will have Bo and Alejandro introduce themselves. They are going to walk us through the program, of which we can show you real briefly. They're also going to lead us before the performance in a short talk of how Alone Together came together, and despite sort of all of the challenges, they were able to prevail. So with that, I will turn things over to Bo and Alejandro.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're all having a good time. I hope you're all ready for what's about to come. This is a project that Bo and I have been working on for the past 2 months, I believe. And for me, it's a project of acceptance of the situation that we're living in. I really didn't want to accept that we had to do virtual concerts now, but now I'm here organizing them. So in a way, it's kind of me accepting that COVID is a real thing, and we need to adjust our art to our current situation. So Bo and I have been working on this recital creation for the past 3 years, I believe, since we were Berklee together. We were at Berklee together, and we organized different recitals together. Last year's was live at the Lily Pad in Boston, and it's always a really good idea to keep on collaborating as composers with performers and different types of music. And these are all composers who have written music for these different performers. And the results are very varied. Everyone's from different places. Everyone has a different style. So I hope you all enjoy it. And I'll let Bo speak now.
Thanks, Alejandro. And thank you, Fritz and Berklee Alumni Affairs, for helping support this event, and to everybody watching and to everybody who wrote and played for it. Thank you very much. I just kind of want to reiterate what Alejandro was saying about how we just are all having to adjust and make our art according to what we're able to do. And I agree. I didn't want it to be this way, and it was a lot more fun to get together and rehearse and play and do all of it live last year. But one of the things that came to my mind, because Alejandro and I started talking about this back in, pre-COVID, kind of right around the turn of winter, about doing the concert again without thinking we would be faced with a virtual scenario at all. And it kind of seemed like it was going to potentially be too hard to put together, because he was like, yeah, maybe let's do one in Mexico and we'll do one in Boston, and then we can find different ensembles to do this. And we stopped talking about it for a few months after realizing we weren't sure if we were going to be able to make it work again, because too many of the people who were there from the year before from the Berklee and BoCo community were going to be spread out, which is kind of the case now. But in light of that, people are inclined to collaborate this way, because this is the scenario that we're in. So I think on the contrary, people are actually extremely grateful for it, and we are able to still be together as we were. last year. And, you know, if all things were sort of normal, then maybe it wouldn't have happened this way. So I've truly enjoyed the process, helping to put the event together and composing for it. And I'm very hopeful that we'll get a chance to continue doing it either this way, however long it takes, or, you know, of course, one day we'll be able to get on the stage again. So looking forward to the concert. I'm going to turn it back over to Alejandro.
Yeah. So our program, before we start our program, I would like to point out that we have a funding page set up that I'm sending right now on the chat. If you want to support the performers, all donations will go to the performers who have been great during this process. And now I would like to introduce our first piece of the program and our first composer of the program. Our first piece is called Sliding in the Air by composer PEDRO OSUNA. PEDRO is a Spanish composer who's currently based in Los Angeles, and he has worked on various projects, award-winning projects like Klaus, who was nominated for an Academy Award. He was also my roommate last year, so I have a very personal bond with him. And I would like Pedro to speak now a little bit about his approach to this piece and his collaboration with both singers.
Hello, guys. Thank you, Alejandro and Bo, for inviting me to be part of this really great initiative, and to Fritz for hosting. And Fritz, you're the best. And I'm very excited to hear my friends' pieces. I really look up to a lot of the composers in this concert, and I've heard their music a lot, and also the performers. I've worked with some of them already, and everyone is just great and super professional and very talented and passionate about this. And when they told me about this concert, I thought it would be an unconventional concert format. So I thought it would be a good excuse to have an unconventional piece format. And so I took this book by Ursula K. Le Guin, and I extracted a fragment of this book, and I wrote a piece around it. I don't want to say too much about it, just other than thanks to the author for the words, and thanks to Rose and Gillian for bringing it to life. And I hope you enjoy the piece.
So now we're going to listen to Sliding in the Air by PEDRO OSUNA.
Sliding in the air, maybe, maybe not. When they got to my world, we already knew how to get about in the air. But they taught us how to get from world to world. We didn't yet have machines for that.
Azra was puzzled by the injection of the teller into the tail. I was feverish, bothered by the sores that the drugs had brought out on my arms and chest, and I couldn't remember how I meant to weave the story.
Go on, he said, trying to make sense of it. What did they do besides go in the air?
Oh, they did as much as people do here, but they're all in Khmer, all the time.
He chuckled. There was, of course, no chance of concealment in this life, and my nickname among the prisoners and guards was inevitably the pervert.
Sliding in the air.
In Khmer all the time, is it a place of reward then, or a place of punishment?
Sliding in the air. I don't know, Azra, which is this world?
Neither, child. This here is just the world. It's how it is. You get born into it, and things are as they are.
I wasn't born into it. I came to it. I chose it.
The silence and the shadow hung around us. Away off in the country, silence beyond the barracks walls. There was one tiny edge of sound, a handsaw keening, nothing else.
Ah well, Azra murmured inside and rubbed his legs, making a little moaning sound that he was not aware of himself. We none of us choose.
We none of us choose?
We none of us choose.
Sliding in the air.
Maybe, Maybe not. When they got to my world, we already knew how to get about in the air. But they taught us how to get from world to world. We didn't yet have the machines for sliding in the air.
So that was Sliding in the Air by PEDRO OSUNA, with both singers. Yeah, a round of applause for that. He collaborated with Rose Hegel and Gillian Corelli. Thank you for that beautiful piece. Now we're gonna go over to Kian Kalilian's solo cello piece, A Sound Emerges Through the Fog and Disappears Through the Fog. Kian is a Boston-based composer from Gibraltar. His work broadly explores the somaesthetic qualities of sound and its ecology, its relationship to the human body, cognition, and environment. I would like Kian to talk a little bit more about his piece and his collaboration with a performer.
Hey, yeah, so I'll try and keep it brief, but this was a lot of fun. Thank you for the opportunity, Bo and Alejandro. Thank you for organizing this. So this piece came about, so the idea behind this piece was to explore really what I love about the cello and the specificity of its sound. I was really interested in the concept of the sort of the way the bow sort of glides over the string and creates levels of complex sounds that we can hear when closely mic'd. So usually I would start a piece by taking a source of inspiration and then working with that inspiration and thinking what sounds can I put to that idea. But in this case, I sort of tried to flip it the other way around and work directly with the sound material as I perceived it, or the pieces of that I loved the most. So the title comes from a poem by Abbas Kiarostami, and it's where I sort of landed at the end of this process. I started with this idea of like the degrees of pressure along the fingerboard and degrees of pressure with the bow, and how I can sort of work with that to create a melody, or a sort of undulating melody that moves, creeps in the fog, and then comes back, and that bow moving across the string sort of creates that fog in some sense, and the harmony behind that, the overtone series that you can hear, is what I was particularly interested in, mostly inspired by the work of Jörg Frey and his use of halftone harmonics. So that's like that concept of the fog, or the levels of clarity in specific sounds, depending on where you play on the instrument, depending on how much pressure you place on each pitch. That sort of shaping the sound world as it moves forward is sort of what the piece is trying to explore. Yeah, as well as sort of the interaction between tone and how that creates certain dissonances and tensions and in space, harmonic space. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna listen to A Sound Emerges Through the Fog and Disappears Through the Fog by Kian Kalilian, who collaborated with Hannah Soren. An applause for Kian for composing such a beautiful piece. We're very sorry for the audio issues, for the problem with the video. We'll be working on that for future pieces. Very sorry, Kian, again. Thank you very much, Kian and Hannah, for participating and creating such a moving piece of music with harmonics. Remind me of Schnittke a lot. For our next piece and composer, we have Althea Steinberg. She is a young South African composer who's currently, I think she's currently studying at Berklee. Her piece is called Astrak, and it is written for Gillian and Rose, so it's for two sopranos. I'll let her talk a little bit more about her piece before we start listening to it.
Yeah, hi Alejandro. Great to be here. I hope we can fix the audio soon. I'd like to welcome Rose and Gillian as well. This piece I wrote for Afrikaans song. Hi Rose. For the Afrikaans language, which is my home language. And a big part of it was collaborating with Rose and Gillian, who don't speak Afrikaans or Dutch, it's close relative, and working on how we can bring the expressiveness of the language through, even though, yes, we have some constraints. And so the concept behind this piece is sun. So it says a strak zomerson, summer sun. And especially here in South Africa, we have the beautiful summer where we have water and rain and sun, and that makes everything grow and beautiful. But towards the end, we don't have any rain, especially now with climate change. We are experiencing lots of droughts. So then the contrast of that then in the second movement, Vrede Landskap, like cruel landscapes, where really the reality of droughts and what is happening to our planet comes through. So I'd like Rose and Gillian just to say a few words about how it was for them to learn this piece in a language they did not know even, I think, existed. Yeah, hi Rose, hi Gillian.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much. This piece is so beautiful, and it's such a privilege to be able to sing. Afrikaans is, as Althea said, it's very similar to Dutch, and I realized that Dutch is very similar to German in some ways. And while it's definitely different, there are some similarities that I used my German studies to kind of give me a foothold to learning the cadence and the phonetics of this beautiful language. And Aletta was so kind, and she spoke out all of the text, and just with careful listening and then putting it together with the music, it was just an amazing experience to be able to sing in another language that I never thought I would ever sing in. So it's awesome to be broadening the repertoire of this awesome language. So thank you so much for the awesome privilege to be able to share this music with you all.
Thank you so much, Gillian, and thank you so much, Aletta, for writing this incredible work, and for Alejandro and Bo for facilitating this really fantastic concert. Similarly to Gillian, it was just such a joy to work on these two pieces and to put them to life together. We definitely used a multifaceted approach in learning. We really examined the historical context of how Afrikaans came to be. We also really looked at the life of Ingrid Jonker, the poet, and we, as Gillian said, we spent so much time not just on pronunciation, but really trying to embrace the meaning of the words. And I also, it was especially fun for me because one of my mom's very best friends is South African. So I was actually able to coach this piece with her. She was super patient with me. we went through it word by word by word. And it was interesting too, because similarly to Jillian, I've studied German, but it's interesting. Phonetics do not necessarily match spelling. So I would find sometimes on the Afrikaans words, I would insert a German pronunciation, which was incorrect. But I think it really helped me to be, what helped me was being really, really present, being really mindful, careful with the text, trying to be present with every single word that I spoke and then sung. And really, I hope that this is the beginning of working with Aletta some more, and also really exploring works by composers who are from South Africa and who said texts in Afrikaans. So thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity.
Thanks for
All right.
Julian.
So we'll now listen to Astrak by Althea Steinberg.
Die Sonne auf die weiten Stern entdecken und die Melodie Samsalon staan in die vroege glans in die tijd van geestelijke dronkenschap is leeg gevoel met die moerrooie sap. Daarom zijn omschreef, want die hiel van die zon en die zoetfontein is lichaam is een borrelsoetwijn. Daarvan het zij uit haar matte groeit geslaan, zodat haar blijft bij haar ledige wil een zij volkomen je haar zal voelt, wat kom met mij uit. Toen net komen ooit, net komen ooit, toen net mij ooit. Dus die zon op die weite Die haringbome steken, bomen, uit hier die vrede land komt. Hier al zijn van het brand, die bloed wil naar buiten stoppen, het wordt staan.
So that was Astrak by Althea. A round of applause for Jillian and Rose for this beautiful music, also Althea for composing it. The next piece is actually mine. So it's born out of a collaboration with Christopher Jimmy Lim, who I think is watching right now, and if he is, then he should show up. He should turn on his camera so we can talk a little bit about this piece. So the piece is based on a poem by the poet James Tate. It's a very beautiful poem that I didn't know this poet before Jimmy, because Jimmy showed it to me. I wanted to write about a poem by Federico Garcia Lorca, but I noticed I was writing a lot of things inspired by very old stuff, so I wanted something more modern. This poem talks, I think it's about two lovers, and one of them has died, and the other one is remembering in some ways how love was all they could feel, and he's building the other one's grave. It's a really, really beautiful poem, and I hope you enjoy the music that I wrote for it. So now we're going to listen Coda by me, Alejandro Viramontes.
Love is not worth so much. I regret everything. Now on our backs in Fayetteville, Arkansas, the stars are falling into our cracked eyes. With my good arm, I reach for the sky and let the air out of the moon. It goes whizzing off to shrivel and sing in the ocean. You cannot weep, I cannot do anything that once held an ounce of meaning for us. I cover you with pine needles. When morning comes, I will build a cathedral around our bodies. And the crickets who sing with their knees will come there in the night to be sad. When they can't sing no more.
So that, thank you, Bo. So that was Coda by me and Christopher Jimmy Lim. The next piece is called Mountain Poems by composer Jeng Wang. I would have liked Jeng to join us right now, but he's from Malaysia, and he's actually in Malaysia right now, I think. So it's like 2 or 3 a.m. for him. So he was absolutely not going to be here. So some words about Jeng. He's a Malaysian pianist and composer. He really likes storytelling and pursues to make his music very much like creating stories. It informs his musical character, and thus his work often finds itself between the spaces of classical and Black American music. So about Mountain Poems, Jeng has written that these are 3 short pieces inspired by my experience with Chinese music and philosophy, and how its music is a description of the landscape itself. Chinese melodies are often monophonic and have a specific contour to them. And one could say that this contour, the auditory equivalent of the peaks and the valleys of the mountain, is the auditory equivalent. The harmonic language of each poem gets progressively less pentatonic, and this was an attempt to explore the idea of contours and space without the aesthetic of Chinese music. He has written this for solo violin, and it is played by Ana Luisa de Corse. Okay, so we're gonna listen to that now. So that was Mountain Poems by Wang. For our next piece, I believe we have Konigsmark. He's both fugues, fugue in G and E flat. And after this, I'm gonna let Bo host the concert, and he's gonna talk about his piece, and he's gonna introduce all of the other composers. I hope you're enjoying yourself, and thank you very much for listening.
All right, so a little bit about my piece here, or about myself first. I graduated from Berklee in 2016 with bachelor's in composition, and then went to Tufts immediately after that and got my Master of the Arts in composition. And now I just started school for my doctorate of musical arts at the Hart School. And I am just extremely excited again to get to continue working with this amazing group of musicians. We've all kind of just been in and out of each other's worlds for the last 2 to 3 years, as Alejandro had said. And it's just really nice to get to continue working together, no matter what the circumstances are. And in particular, I so enjoyed working with Davina on this because we've been playing flute and trumpet together for ever since we were in the ensemble, the Neither Nor ensemble, in its beginnings at Berklee. And then I started to form my own ensemble, Into the Light, and Davina has just been such a strong force with the trumpet and with leadership, just as a wonderful personality and human being. And you know, I was just really excited to get to work on a piece with Davina. Davina, do you have anything you'd like to talk about with the music we worked on?
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to say, thank you, Bo, for writing such energetic and emotional music during this time. And it's been a really interesting process to, have this piece that you're playing together, but we can't obviously rehearse it at the same time. So there's been a lot of back and forth and a lot of good conversation. But I think ultimately, I really enjoyed this process, and it was also sort of a acknowledgement of the situation that we're in right now. Yeah, that's about that.
Thanks, Davina. One last thing before you click the play button. I guess just a clarification why I went for this. It's 18th century counterpoint tonal music, just basically because I've wanted to kind of create my own smaller set of works of fugues that I can play myself and I can teach to other people. So that's kind of why I just decided I wanted to take the time to write these two pieces. So I hope you like it. you have it. Okay, so the next performer group we have is Luis and Sonia. I hope I'm saying that right. Sonia is a fourth, let's see, is it the right piece? Yeah. Sonia is a fourth semester student of Berklee College of Music, majoring in film scoring. She's a classical pianist and composer from Moscow, Russia, and graduated the Academic Music College by Moscow Conservatory and has participated in many music festivals, concerts, and competitions around Europe and the USA. Luis McDougall is a prolific composer, arranger, guitarist, and private instructor who has recently graduated from Berklee College of Music. One of the hallmarks of his music lies in his harmonic language, which consists of an ongoing exploration of polychordality and polytonality, along with sophisticated and unpredictable dissonances. I enjoy all that wording there. You want to talk a little bit about your piece, Luis?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Can, yes.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. Thanks a lot for hosting this. And yeah, my piece is basically what I perceive dreams sound like as if they were written in music. They have this sort of ambiguous quality to them. And, you know, like with dreams, it's very, the details are very hazy. So that's kind of what I perceive in this. Like it's just, you're floating along, you're not really thinking about it that much. So yeah, regardless of how you interpret the piece, I hope everyone enjoys it.
Thank you, Luis and Sonia. So let's move on to the next composer, our second song by Alejandro and Jimmy.
El viento duele, la los insectos muerden y la tierra está
Okay, so the next composer is Hanley Chan. My World Lights Up When I See You. It's a piece written for soprano and tape based on a poem of the same name by Remy Kuo. The music aims to capture the essence of seeing someone again after a prolonged period of being apart, articulating the feelings one would feel: anxious, excitement, butterflies upon the reunion. How does one deal with their nerves while bridging the emotional gap from the physical distance apart? I don't know if Hanley is here. Perhaps Rose would like to speak about the piece a bit before we try and play it.
Yeah, sure. Honestly, this work is super, super lovely. Hanley, he has a lot of soaring melodies to kind of express the excitement and the passion that one feels for this person in the piece. He also has some cool extended vocal techniques as well. You'll hear me use a bit of a scratchy voice. You'll hear me whisper at times. But yeah, it's a really, really, really sweet piece, and I hope that you enjoy it.
world lights up when I see you. My world lights up when I see. My world lights up when my world lights up when my world lights up. My dream is to explore the rest of the world with you.
Thank you so much, Rose and Hanley. Okay, so let's move on to the final piece. And that is Lynn Teta and Ariel Mo with Mirror Etudes. Ariel is a Chinese Canadian pianist actively performing in the Boston area, where she is about to begin a Masters of Music program with Stephen Jury at the New England Conservatory. Ariel was a prize winner at the 2018 Piano Arts North American Piano Competition and first prize winner at the 2015 Canadian Music Competition. And then Mr. Lynn Teta is a composer, vocalist, and guitarist from Malden, Massachusetts. He studied at the Boston University Tanglewood Institute in 2013, and graduated from the Berklee College of Music and Composition in 2019, where he served as the vice president of the school's Society of Composers and was presented the Jeremimas Kasinkas Award for Outstanding Achievement in Composition. Currently pursuing a master's in composition from the Boston Conservatory at Berklee. Okay, so Lynn or Ariel, would you like to speak about your piece? Tell us what you did.
Oh man, that was really close to the camera. Hello, this piece is, the original idea for this concert was that all the pieces were kind of supposed to have like a pedagogical or like a didactic aspect to them. And so mine it deals with one of the, challenges that every composition student is at some point tasked with by their teacher, to write a piece that's the same forwards and backwards. And I did cheat in that regard a couple ways. It's not exactly the same forwards and backwards, but it's really, really close. It's close enough that I wasn't mad about it. And I think if you're not actively angry about your piece, you have succeeded as a composer. So I'll take the win. Yeah, thank you all very much for being here.
That's nice, nice cut off or hard cut ending there. Thanks everybody for participating today. You can also go to our donations page here and donate for some of our hardworking performers so that they can keep doing what they're so great at. And yeah, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much to everyone. It's been a joy for me to continue to compose actively and for people and for the whole group in general. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I just wanna add to what Bo just said. Everyone's pieces were just really good. Me and Bo have been listening to, Bo and I have been listening to these pieces for the past days on and off, and we just think that it's extremely great quality job, and appreciate everyone who attended and saw and listened. So yeah, thank you for attending. Thank you for playing, and expect emails from us. So yeah, we'll see you when we see you.